Miss Kathy and Baby Bo here.
Hi! How you doing?
Oh, I hope they're doing good. I hope you're all doing okay. Are y'all still at home? I think they are.
Yes, they are, Miss Kathy.
Well, we're at home again. I'm making a little video for you because, Baby Bo's been having some problems lately. And, well, do you want to tell them what your problem is?
No.
Oh, come on. It's okay. They're kids too. It's okay to tell them. Okay?
Well, I've been really scared of the sickness.
The sickness. Yeah, well, Baby Bo calls it the sickness, but what he's scared of is this virus that's been going around. And so I thought when I told Baby Bo some things about God that I would just tell you all at the same time, okay?
Yeah, tell us all.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with Abraham because remember, we found out that Abraham loved God so much. And so God decided to bless Abraham. And he said that he was going to bless all of Abraham's children and their children and their children and their children
And their children and their children and their children and their children.
That's enough. Yeah, you get the point. So God did bless Abraham's children so much that after a lot of years, there were so many of them that the Egyptians started to get scared because there were so many of them that they thought maybe they could overtake them. So the Egyptians decided that they were going to make the ancestors of Abraham slaves.
Slaves?
Yes, slaves. So for 400 years, they were slaves.
Wow, that's a long time.
It is a long time, isn't it? But you know what? God never forgot about his people, and he still was watching over them. And God decided that he was going to send somebody to help them. And so God sent Moses. Do you remember Moses in the Bible?
Yeah, I never Moses.
Okay. Well, God sent Moses when he was 40 years old. He told him to go to the Pharaoh and tell him to let God's people go.
Wow, did he do it?
Well, not at first. So I know we've talked about the plagues before. Do you remember the plagues, Baby Bo?
I didn't come that week.
Oh, you didn't come that week? Okay, well, the plagues were things that God sent to the Egyptians to let them know that he was God.
Like what?
Well, the first one, he turned the river into blood. And then he sent a bunch of frogs.
That's funny.
Well, the Egyptians had frogs in their beds and frogs on their tables and frogs outside, just frogs everywhere.
Ugh.
Well, and then he sent a bunch of insects and lice, and they had those everywhere. Ugh. Well, the Pharaoh kept saying he was going to let him go, but then he kept changing his mind. God kept sending more and more plagues against the Egyptians. And then came the 10th plague. Really, really a scary one.
What was that?
Well, the 10th plague was God was going to send a sickness.
A sickness?
Yeah, a sickness. Could have been a virus, but God sent a sickness throughout all of Egypt, and he said that the oldest child in every single home was going to die.
What?
Yep, the oldest child in every home. So God spoke to his children through Moses, and he said, tell them that they are to kill a perfect lamb. So they had to kill the lamb, and then they had to brush the lamb's blood above the door and on the sides of the door of their home.
Wow, that's weird.
Well, that's what God told them to do. And then God told them that they were to cook the lamb and that they were to stay in their house and they were to eat the lamb and they were to thank God that he was going to save them that night. And they were even supposed to put on traveling clothes.
Wow, did they have their shoes on?
Yes, they did. He told them to wear their shoes, and he told them to hold a walking stick and to be ready because God was going to set them free. And they obeyed God. They did everything that he said, and God said that when this sickness would travel through the land of the Egyptians, that when it saw the lamb's blood on the doorway, that it would pass over them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why they call it Passover, because it passed over them. And you know, later in the Bible, a couple thousand years later, that's when Jesus was born. And when Jesus died on the cross, he became our lamb, just like the lamb that was sacrificed for Passover. So now, with the blood of Jesus, we can ask God to protect us from the sickness that comes to our house. And we can ask him to pass over us and ask for his blessings and stay in our home and stay safe and use wisdom, and that we can ask God to also protect us. And from that time on, God told the children of Israel that from this time on, every single year, you were to take a day and do the Lord's Passover. And that's where we get communion from. And we share the little grape juice, and we have the little cracker that we break it and eat it, because we're remembering that Jesus was our sacrifice, just the same as the lamb was the sacrifice on the very first Passover. So that's how we know what the Passover is. Do you feel any better?
Yeah, I think that I am going to pray and obey God and thank him for protecting me. Thank you, Miss Kathy.
Well, you're welcome. I like that story in the Bible. Another week, we will get into it more, and we will talk about every single one of the plagues, and that'll be a fun discussion, okay?
Yeah, I want to hear about the frogs.
Oh, you know what? There are locusts, too.
Oh, locusts. Ew.
Oh, you don't like locusts?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, we love you, kids. Bye.
Bye. I love you.